The Iron Pigs Food Truck Fest.
Where is it at?
I'm not sure, but it says it's free. At the Coca-Cola Park. It's in Allentown. The talk is various food trucks, dozens of food options. The event boasts a variety of craft beer selections, mixed drinks, live music, and other fun activities around Coca-Cola Park. I heard food trucks, it was like, what?
People killed 246 black Americans. Black people killed 566 white Americans. Keep in mind the population difference. That means that white people killed less than half the amount of blacks when they make up 76% of the population, but black Americans killed double the amounts of whites, even though they only make up about 13%.
Yeah, that's that shit with Crowder. Where the fuck you even getting these stats from, bro?
FBI.
The wake of the Buffalo shooting, this is in its horrible tragedy, of course, it's been condemned. But there have been other shootings that have taken place that the media really hasn't talked about. By the way,
so now he's going to discredit it and say that it's not race related?
Chinese national hates the Taiwanese. Chinese guy hates the Taiwanese.
But then, like, you still have to like figure out why the numbers are the way they are. Why have so far, whatever set of years, have black people killed more white people? Maybe because white people attack us more, and it's more
white people have killed
self-defense.
black people for forever?
Is it like a self-defense thing that we're?
Is it the same way y'all grab y'all purses when we're walking past? We're scared of you too?
Americans, it's how to make people.
Once again, a white man made these stats. I don't give a fuck what the FBI had to say. It wasn't a black man from the FBI, was it?
The only way to do it is to really get to the point of sensible gun control in this country, to end hate speech on the internet and social media, to stop the proliferation of hateful ideology. Those are the ways that we make black people feel safe in Buffalo, that we make people feel safe all across this country.
Pivoted from gun control to social media, happiness is a warm tweet. Now, it would be really important to mention here, before we get to anything else, and we have a lot of claims that we need to address. If you only remember one, this is the most recent year for FBI crime reporting. And by the way, the FBI is not even necessarily reliable, so whatever you're seeing,
we got an email.
Take it with a grain of salt.
No, it was.
It's probably worse. There were 13,000.
You work night shift and you about to get off, or you just went to work? Because if you just went to work, bro, you ain't got no reason to be tired.
1.67 million defensive uses of firearms. So that's the difference of 1.5 something million. I didn't round the one. So just.
We got a notice in the mail saying that our internet speed was going to be improved slightly. We'll see.
By 33%.
We'll see if this makes any difference. Just want to test this out since they told us that shit. Alright, got that squared away. So just trying to get a little bit of news in this morning. Crowder's talking about FBI gun statistics, gun and murder statistics, and then I guess they also factor in race. So there's like a couple of different quadrants there in this whole thing right here. I don't know if they factor in age, but it's definitely death-related crimes due to gun involvement between different races. So there's a few different factors that are going into these statistics that he's about to read off.
In mind, whenever someone says, if it saves one life, well, they're willing to take at least 1 million lives in a good year, to be clear.
Is that just America?
That's just the United States.
Just the United States.
Yeah, 1.67 defensive uses. And people think that the homicide is a lot higher than it's 13,000 gun homicides.
Yeah.
That's really not nearly as high as people think.
No, and look
night
at the
shift, bro. I can't do that shit,
1.67
man.
million.
I tried.
Yeah,
They're telling those people that they no longer have a right.
And by the way, I don't believe that number for a second, because there have been other estimates. It's
higher.
been
Try working
between
night
2 and
shift
3
one time.
million, so this is the FBI claiming that, and it's very hard to measure
I can't
defensive
do that
uses of
shit.
firearms, because often the gun has never been fired. You about
Yeah.
that?
Oh no, I was going to tell you, like,
it's
also
just
with the
not
white
bad if
supremacy
he's
thing,
dealing with
Gerald
less
saw this
people.
article too. It said, can you believe a day after the Buffalo shooting, white people were entertained by black people by watching basketball?
This was an actual article?
This was an article.
Actual article that came out.
This is white supremacy, is what they said. This is what white supremacy looks like. People watching other people play a game because they're white people are watching black.
Well, I guess what do NBA players, if they're so against white supremacy, would they want to be unemployed?
They do. I think that would be better than being on the plantation, like Colin Kaepernick said about the NFL.
Yeah, well, slavery.
They about to piss me off. They about to piss me off.
Wait a minute, I'm trying to
There's
listen.
probably one or two white guys left in basketball.
Every time I like this motherfucker,
Yeah.
And
I gotta take it back.
also, like, think about the money that creates for people who work for companies that sponsor it. Even the vendors that work there, the
Right.
people that have to clean the bathrooms, the people that take care of parking.
Must be the
There's
day
all
for
kinds of
repairs,
things
J1.
that have to keep the world turning.
Just fixed
Yeah.
my car.
It's completely unfair
Fixed his
to
other
just
car,
all of a
now we
sudden
about to
stop
fix
that,
the other
take away
car.
those jobs from all those people, and then blame it on white supremacy just so you can just completely gaslight the rest of the
But it
country.
also just doesn't make any sense to just
This is
unemploy a
it,
bunch of
yeah.
black people. That's where, probably the area where they have the highest median income on Earth.
Exactly, it makes no sense.
By the way, a little known fact: Larry Bird was in fact kidnapped on the Mediterranean coast, and he was victim to the North African slave trade. That's why he's so good.
So
Now,
what do you think about
let's
Colin
get to-
Kaepernick?
Let's get to some of their claims here.
I don't think anything of them.
Okay, that more gun control.
I think that he made a bold move. I do think that there's strategic ways to do things, but I respect what Colin did because he said, you're not gonna force me to do this. Like, I'm here. But I mean, then again, like, it is an American league. It is all
Yeah,
the
but
other
a lot
shit.
of people have done silent protests like that, and for some reason, he was selected as the poster child. He didn't.
He wasn't just selected as a poster child. He really was advocating
Yeah,
for people. Like,
yes,
he's not,
yes.
he ain't a phony. He
No,
really is about
no,
it.
he's not. No,
Yeah.
he's not.
And he got kicked out, and
Yes.
he still ended up getting money and still getting put on.
And I agree with all that, but he was selected because there's other people who believe and really are honest and true and do the same thing all the time.
The people who did that, though, I mean, recently. Who has done that recently in
We
the
don't
NFL?
know because they weren't chosen.
There would be
Not
something
in the
going around
NFL,
about
but
it.
it could have been somebody in soccer or hockey or baseball.
But no, because you got to stay with the organization. You can't go because you can't go from the NFL to the NBA.
You
They're
just
different.
said about him, not the league that he's
Well,
in.
that's
What do I
about-
think
but-
about Colin Kaepernick
Yeah, and then
himself?
you said
I think he did
other
something
people
that he
have done
believed
it.
in.
But you said other people have done it.
Yeah.
That's what I'm saying. Where and when?
We don't know because the story hasn't been publicized as much as Kaepernick.
I don't
and he
know.
Was
I
chosen,
mean, there's
and
but
everybody
there's
flocked to
there's
him like, look at
but
this
there's
professional
internet.
player.
There's internet. Everything about every player is on the internet. You know what I mean? I think that he just really
Yeah, but then everybody.
and he was not to mention the fact he's a very well liked and well known player. It's just like if Steph Curry says, "Yo, I'm gonna," if Kobe said, "Yo, I'm not gonna do this," how many people are gonna back Kobe because you know Kobe? Like, he's a name that people know.
Yeah.
He's not a Kobe, but he is a Steph Curry of the NFL.
I get all that, but I still think like he got endorsements behind this shit. He got new Nike commercials behind this shit. He got documentaries made
But
behind this shit.
You know them other companies, right? I think what they're trying to do is like, yo, black people, we're cool. Look at us. This is what we can do for y'all. Let me get one of y'all black people that y'all like, and we gonna make sure y'all keep wearing our stuff. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, should he have not accepted the deal and just been completely blacklisted and made no money at all? Like, what would you do if you were him?
I would utilize that shit to my advantage too.
And that's what I'm saying. I think that he
And
just so happened to
I don't
get.
think there's nothing wrong with the whole situation.
Yeah,
There's nothing wrong with
I
that
think
shit.
he just so happened to get lucky, but
he-
I don't
he
think
has
he went
that-
into it.
He has that look. He's ambiguous looking.
He looks black.
and
This man got a whole afro,
It's super straight.
babe.
His hair could be straight as shit.
His hair is like mine, and he's darker than I am. He looks
Yeah.
black. Well, he kind of looks Arabic, but he looks black.
He has this like ambiguous look. You know, he's young and handsome, and he's a professional athlete, whatever sports league it may be. He's a professional athlete, and he took a stand at the height, at the very pinnacle of this Black Lives Matter
And the
movement.
pinnacle of his career, which killed his career.
But launched him off in other directions, and now like
Yes,
he
but
can,
it's
he
not
can
what
get
he
back into
wanted
the
to do.
NFL again. And on top of that,
After how long though?
I don't watch sports. Period. I don't watch them. But I heard the motherfucker was a shitty player.
I can answer that for you. Hell no.
Motherfucker said he was a shitty player anyway.
He wasn't
But
a
he
shitty
wasn't-
player.
He wasn't no
Yeah,
Bradley or what did I do this?
Peyton
Manning and
Eli Manning.
He wasn't one of them motherfuckers. He wasn't no Dan Marino or no Emmitt Smith or no shit like that.
I'm gonna need you to say some players from this this century. He said Dan Marino. Who?
He wasn't no goddamn.
When the hell Dan win the last time? 1980.
In the 90s.
Nigga don't watch football.
So he wasn't no O.J. Simpson. Nigga.
But my thing is that once again, it was at the height and the pinnacle of his career, and he could have chose to be quiet. He's adopted by a white family, but he is mixed, and he could have chose to not identify with his blackness. He could have chose to not identify with what he felt, and he could have not took a stand. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I don't understand why he gets so much flack for not wanting to stand up for a fucking American pledge or a flag. Or for boycotting some shit. Like, yeah, go make your own leagues and da-da-da-da-da. But, like, now you telling black people, oh, well, since white people are paying you and they're watching you, you need to shut the fuck up because they're paying your bills. So do you want to not make no money? Like, so I should be quiet even though I don't like some shit? I don't like what Carter is saying about that. And every time it comes to some shit like that, I feel like they got some bullshit to say. Like, I don't think he's a straight up racist, but I do think that he is a little bit prejudiced and condescending, and he's quicker to call out other races than he is to call out his own, versus us where we like, when we see black people doing some shit, we like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing it. So I don't know, I just wish he was more equal,
because he sees, like, for a past couple of years it has, like, black people have been trying to put the focus on us because we need it, and he just doesn't see why that it's we're all Americans. Like,
yeah, and y'all have had it for forever, so get out of your American fucking mindset thinking that you own everything because you're a white American male, and then you claim that, oh, it's fair for everybody and this and that, but you know y'all motherfuckers rule the world.
It's very hard to measure defensive uses of firearms because often the gun is never even fired.
Yeah. Oh no, I was gonna tell you, like, also with white
would you paint Kaepernick?
Gerald saw this article too.
That's already answered. That's what I can answer that for you.
The Buffalo shooting, white people were entertained by black people.
If he ain't even paint Malcolm X or nobody yet, he definitely ain't.
Yeah, and this the thing, like, he's already been painted a million times. Like, what the fuck? The only way I ever painted Huey P. Newton is because I painted his book. The only reason I painted Dr. King is because I painted his book. The only reason I painted X is because I painted his book. You know, not and they're on the covers of their books. But yeah, I can't. I don't know. All the celebrity shit, it just feels weird to, like, paint a celebrity.
I mean, it's cool because sometimes they do see it and they buy it.
And then it's all about a money thing instead of being about.
J1 said, I knew the answer. I just wanted to hear you say it.
But then, once again, like, you can't find no picture. Now, I always say I'll paint a celebrity if I take the picture. If I meet Kendrick in person and I get a good picture of Kendrick, I'm going to paint that shit, yo, because it's my picture. But there's no picture of Kaepernick that I can find online that nobody else has ever seen. Or that somebody else has already painted or drawn or whatever.
Oh, you painted Jesus?
A fictional Jesus that was...
Babe, he is a celebrity in the black community. Show some respect.
Yeah.
Beyonce and Jesus. Nobody comes above them.
I definitely painted a picture of Jesus.
A beautiful picture.
And didn't I sell that shit to somebody?
You did. You didn't paint it for your own sake. You painted it for them.
Yeah, but the guy who had me do the commission, he wasn't the person who bought that shit.
Yeah, somebody else bought it. And it was a beautiful painting. I couldn't believe they just stopped responding and put them, like, what are you doing?
For months. And now it's years.
And you have to put a deposit down, so you just lost your money.
And now it's like years, and this motherfucker never came back for that. Never heard from this motherfucker again, yo. He just told me what to do and paid me for this shit.
It was beautiful, too. I mean, I don't like Jesus paintings, but it was beautiful.
It was a good painting.
Not even good, it was great.
But then on top of that, it was like a weird one because I took the background out and I put my own background in it because, like, the picture was taken in the woods.
It was a good picture. But
then the background I had was, like, in a temple. So I had to, like, put the wall and put some pillars in that shit. Damn, I want to see that picture.
That's a lot of work.
I still have that picture.
After watching that show last night, I wouldn't mind seeing you paint a siren like her. She was pretty cool looking.
That shit was crazy, yo. If this was all on the water, like...
Doing her little thing. Motherfucker took her coins.
Then drank the blood. Then she fucking killed all these motherfuckers, yo. I swear I thought he was gonna get away, yo.
Me too.
The whole time.
And then he had to pick up the treasure. And as soon as he did that, I'm like, uh-oh. He not getting away.
All that treasure, all that way just to run right back into where the fuck she was at.
And then imagine having your hearing restored just to have your eardrums burst out with it. Like, this is what hearing is like? I don't want this shit.
That motherfucker was scared the first time you start hearing the birds and shit. He's like, what the fuck?
What is that?
What the fuck? Motherfucker started wailing this shit like...
Tweaking out.
He was like, oh shit, this is sound. Then he heard that voice. Shit start calling his ass in the water. The weirdest one, but it was pretty cool though. The visuals and just like how they told the story with no words. There wasn't no real conversation or dialogue in the whole thing. And then the sound effects were crazy as that shit too. Where's this Jesus thing at?
Shit like this be funny to me because her ass was some trash in high school.
And who picked her up and put her up there?
She tall as shit.
Oh damn.
Yeah, she's tall. She's probably like 5'8" maybe. And that's tall for a female. Shit, she might have got picked up. But yeah, you know that saying, somebody like just big for nothing or tall for nothing. Like, oh, you big but you can't cook. You tall but you can't block shit. But like, girl, all you gotta do is just put your arm up. Just put your arm up.
Is she still really bald like that?
I don't think so. But she was younger than me though, so I mean,
There it goes.
If she got better once I graduated, I'm not sure. Cause I played varsity my second 2 years.
Hey, you remember this painting? Like the reference photo, I swear to God, it was like in the woods. It was just like a bunch of leaves and shit, but
Oh my God, the shadows are crazy though.
yeah, that's what, like I said, that's what I liked about it. I was actually able to kind of make it look like they were inside of a temple somewhere or to the side, off to the side of a temple.
I feel like this is like a project too, because somebody who really can't draw or paint, if you can't get your pillars proportionate and line them up, your shit gonna be raggedy as hell. You are a super nerd for that, but guess what? He probably gonna want to watch that shit too.
Bruh. At least you can say that shit though.
This motherfucker loves Doom. Don't let him tell you that you a nerd.
Chip and Dale, Rescue Rangers, Chip and Dale with adventure.
Both of y'all some nerds, actually.
Yo, Chip and Dale was my shit, yo.
Yo, Love, Death, Robots, though. You gotta watch Love, Death, Robots, Jalen. Why are you over here under me? What do you want?
I saw Dipset said, I saw Chip and Dale. That shit was funny as shit, nigga. Now I might have to watch Chip and Dale. Fuck that shit.
We sure will. What else did we say we haven't seen in a while that we were gonna watch?
Stop.
Polar Express.
Oh, yeah. Stop.
You heard what he said. You heard what he said.
Did she go outside this morning?
Yes, she did. And I tried to let her go before we came back up here, too. And she didn't want to go. So now you're going to wait. I'm going down there in like 20 minutes. You'll be all right.
Hush.
Ooh, all that little attitude. You're so fucking stank. No. You heard what he said.
Sit down. Go sit down.
Sit down. Sit down.
Go sit down.
Jesus Christ, dude. Let's go. Now. And you better use the goddamn bathroom this time. I get my fucking nerves.
Yeah, that dog be aggravating and shit.
And shit, let her out twice and don't do shit. And now she wanna go.
to your mother. Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur? First time you see them, it's like a miracle.
I might have to see that, yo. I ain't gonna lie, yo. The new Jurassic Park.
You look just like Blue.
That was never a Jurassic Park film.
Do you remember the first time you saw a dinosaur? First time you see them, it's like
Oh, damn.
a miracle.
Emmanuel doing the mural?
Sounds beautiful wherever he is. Sounds
nature.
He heavy-handed with the paint. That shit was just falling on the ground. Oh, wow. Okay. Nice colors.
I be wanting to do more murals.
That was so simple, too. You could do something like that. He just had all, like, it looked like outlines and stencils. Colors were nice, too. You gonna stop being annoying now? You done took your shit? You feel better? You need the claws cut.
Is what makes a man a man. But if you're eating foods that raise your estrogen, you're never going to have high testosterone.
My baby got a birthday in 2 weeks. Weeks. My
Hey,
baby
don't
got
be
a
mad
birthday in
about
2
that
weeks.
shit.
Hey, less than 2 weeks now. Damn, that looks good.
Yeah, we stay with that fucking fire, yo.
Yeah, 12 days. It's a 12-day countdown.
This was an actual article?
This is an article.
Actual article that came out.
This is white supremacy, is what they say. This is what white supremacy looks like. People watching other people play a game because they're white people are watching black.
Well, I guess what do NBA players, if they're so against white supremacy, would they want to be unemployed?
They do.
You sound so racist.
They're just like slaves. That's all it is. They play this sport, and you think basketball players make a lot of money, and compared to us, they do. But compared to the franchise owners,
And the white players and everybody else.
they don't make that much, yo.
Yeah, you gotta be
That's
a
why you
LeBron
gotta
or
be
Kobe.
real smart, the motherfucker. You gotta be like a Shaq to maneuver and stay with that fucking bread. You gotta be like a Jordan to make tons of investments outside of the league.
Right, because then you're in a different category, and it's like, yeah, they rich to us, but they broke to everybody else they contending with, and it don't make no sense when you putting that work
And a
in.
lot of athletes after their careers over, you don't really be hearing from these motherfuckers.
And my thing is, if I'm a manager of an artist, and my artist, yeah, I'm booking them shows, but my artist is doing all the writing, all the performing, all the everything, meet and greets, like they gotta be the face of it. And they're the brand. It's all about them. If the artist stops making music, I don't get paid. Why should I get paid more than my artist? So it's like, in the music industry, it's the same thing. How come the labels get all this money, and the managers are getting 40 and 50%?
And then on top of that, they talking about the NFL and the NBA. The NBA is almost all black people.
Not owned.
You add up every basketball player in this country who played professional NBA basketball, it's just a couple hundred people. That's a couple hundred jobs.
Yeah.
There's more people that work at my fucking local Walmart.
It's so hard to get in there, and
It's
for
a couple
forever,
hundred fucking jobs.
have black people not always been the source of entertainment for white people?
And the best athletes.
As singers, dancers, because it happened
You
with
bred motherfuckers.
music first.
Yeah.
They did it with music first, Elvis and all of them, and then they did it with football. Now they're doing it with basketball, and then now they're doing it with fashion and hairstyles too. The fashion and the hair industry, the white people and the Asian people have taken that shit over, but the black women are the ones who's buying the shit.
So, I don't know. Like, the NBA is not a lot of people.
It's
not a lot of people.
Everything else I'm talking about is a lot of people.
You act like that shit fucking.
I mean, how many black coaches are there? I know football they got a couple of black coaches, but
like that
not
shit's
many
supposed to make
females,
some
not
real
many.
significant impact.
Yeah.
Well, I think that would be better than being on the plantation like Colin Kaepernick said about the NFL.
Yeah, well,
Same thing
slavery.
for the NBA. Yeah.
Well, the whole idea that they're contractually obligated, I think there's probably one or two white guys left in basketball. I think there's an Asian, he's real tall.
Yeah.
And
That's
but
so fucked up.
also, like, think about the money that creates for people who work for companies that
A
sponsor
lot of white
it.
people play basketball.
Even the vendors that work there, the
Right.
people that have to clean the bathrooms,
Yeah,
the people
because
that take care
the
of
league
parking.
is all black.
There's all
People
kinds
rather
of
see
things
black
that make
athletes
the
instead
world
of corny white
turn.
athletes. So.
It's completely unfair.
I don't mind
to
seeing white
start that,
athletes
take
if they
away
can
those
play.
jobs from all those
If you can
people,
play, you can play.
And then blame it on white
But,
supremacy just so
yeah,
you can
black people
just
are
really
athletically
gaslight the rest
the
of
best.
It also doesn't make any sense to just
This is
unemploy a
it.
bunch of
Yeah.
black
Y'all got
people
swimming.
who probably
Y'all
live
got
where they
ice
have the
hockey.
highest median income on Earth.
Exactly. It makes no sense.
By the way, little known fact: Larry Bird was in fact kidnapped on the Mediterranean coast, and he was victim to the North African slave trade. That's why he's so good. Now, let's get to some of their claims here. Here's a claim that they make. Okay, that more gun control would have prevented this shooting. This is one of the claims they're making right now. So MSNBC, the local commentator and former.
All right, we got it out early today, so I want to go ahead and get a little bit of paint in. Oh, you'll grab my tripod out the hallway?
Obama's the Secretary of State. Okay. Tweeted this. The flaw in the system is not what's illegal, but what's legal. That an 18-year-old, any 18-year-old,
Yeah, I don't know how she saved that video that I sent to her, but my video, when she reposted it on social media, is grainy as fuck. Like, how did you transfer that shit over, yo?
So New York already has very strict gun control. Let me
Hey, what the fuck?
for you so I understand. You according to Gifford's Law, by the way, not a conservative source, reference available at autocutter.com.
I'm gonna go look up
The Gifford's Law Center
You
for
ready to
New
eat
York.
yet, or you want me to wait a couple
Yeah,
minutes?
New York has the 6th strongest gun laws in the country. Okay? 6th strongest gun laws in the country. Let me hit you with another truth you probably should know. The shooter's gun was already illegal in New York. He modified a Bushmaster XM15ES illegally, which is very easy for anybody to do, which makes it an assault weapon according to New York law. So it's already illegal. It's already impossible to get. He bought a firearm and he modified it in a place that has some of the strictest gun laws in the country. Also, here's a really important truth that I think you need to know.
How hard it is to do this.
We've talked about this in the past, that over 90, depending on the estimate, anywhere from 90 to 97%, let's call it an even 90% of mass shootings occur where? Gun-free zones. Now, that's the empirical. The anecdotal is this shooter specifically chose this location because of the strict gun laws. This is what he wrote. Plus, New York has heavy gun laws, so it would ease me if I knew that any legally armed civilian was limited to a 10-round magazine or cupped firearms. Which brings us to another... Were you about to say something?
I was just about to say, I don't understand why they go directly to nobody should have this military-style assault weapon. We've talked about this before several times. Nobody can define that term.
What's not a real term?
No, that's what I'm saying. Like, it's like hate speech. It's like, okay, we'll define it. Nobody can define it, and so you're trying to say that nobody should have the...
Did the speaker just disconnected or something? What the hell?
Is something they expanded upon to trick you to go, oh, we're talking about fully on. No, we're not. No, we're not. By the way, I'm carrying weapon. And there are many assault weapons in the studio, just so you know, at any given moment.
Yeah, you can assault anybody with almost anything.
But I mean, in New York, this gun, this handgun, this Walther, is an assault weapon.
Yeah.
This would be illegal in New York. It's a very, very common gun. It's just a little more badass because it's customized. There's another claim that they're going to make, and they're making, that gun violence right now, so they want to combine gun control, and I'll tell you that gun violence is a problem of what? It's a white supremacy problem. Right, okay.
Yes.
Now, I'm sure you probably know that this does not hold water. Let me ask you, comment below. Does that pass a sniff test for anyone? I would particularly like to hear from, black people watching right now. Do you really believe that gun violence is a white supremacy problem? You know some stats are coming, but don't be embarrassed. I just want to know if you buy it, because here's the truth. Black people kill white people at a much higher rate than white people kill black people. They also kill black people at a higher rate than white people kill black people. So let's look at the murder by race of offender and the victim from 2019. These are the most recent stats we could find from the FBI. White people killed 246 black Americans. Black people killed 566 white Americans. Keep in mind the population difference. That means that white people killed less than half the amount of blacks when they make up 76% of the population, but black Americans killed double the amount of whites, even though they only make up about 13% of the population. That is an unbelievable gap. So if I have to watch another film where the bully is the is the white kid in a Letterman jacket, or the person breaking in for some home security system commercial is the white guy with a bolo tie, I'm going to lose it.
But Stephen, it's still white supremacy. Sorry.
Yeah.
It's all Menace to Society, Boys in the Hood, Jersey Drive. You know, there were some movies that kind of captured reality, but that was, of course, 30 years ago.
And who could forget John Cougar Mellencamp's famous hit, Click, Click, Boom?
Yeah.
Huey Lewis and the Glocks. You guys didn't?
Oh, yeah. Totally.
I've been glorifying this for a very long time.
Yeah.
And the blood-soaked news.
Well, and this is the thing. They want white Americans to feel guilty if, for example, after the knockout game and after you see this unbelievable wave of crime taking place over the pandemic, the riots, they want you to feel guilty. We talked about this yesterday. This is the overarching theme here. They want you to feel guilty for saying, "Ooh, you know what? I get a little bit nervous as a white woman in a primarily black neighborhood where my head is on a swivel." Oh, why is that? Well, because, I'm exponentially more likely to be shot, raped, or robbed. Don't say that. But they encourage black people to live in fear of the white supremacy that statistically is a non-factor.
Right, because every single one of the community leaders has been out there saying, the Al Sharptons and everybody saying, white people, white supremacy, racism, that's the problem that you have to be afraid of. And so if you're a black person and that's the only voice that you're hearing right now, you believe it. And you go, white people are out to get me.
Yeah.
And so now an entire community fears something that they shouldn't, and these communities can no longer hang out.
I don't think most black people actually.
I don't think they do either, but I'm saying if that's the only voice your community is hearing, which a lot of times it is, come on.
Yeah.
A lot of times you're hearing, this is white supremacy, white supremacy. That's the problem going on in America right now. It's white supremacy. They're saying it right now. The greatest threat in this country right now is white supremacy.
Right.
It's the biggest domestic threat, even though we're headed towards what seems like another summer of love coming our way with riots and protests.
Well, love and rape are used interchangeably.
It's true. Well, either side coming at you like that creates a gigantic amount of anxiety, which has already been created over the last 2.5 years.
Yeah.
I'm not surprised these things are happening at the rate that they are because of what's been going on.
Right.
It's all anxiety bubbling to the surface.
But here's the big. What I would say is the big difference, though, and I agree with you. The difference is the anxiety that's created one way. For example, if white Americans feel concerned if they're in a primarily black neighborhood, particularly after 2020, the anxiety is statistic induced. The anxiety that's being induced in the black community is from leadership lying. That's the problem.
Yeah.
Is look, I think that if you're a white person at a Black Lives Matter riot, whether it's Baltimore, Ferguson, whether it's going on in Dallas, I think you'd be a fool to not be concerned. Now, that does not mean every interaction with black. I've said that my interactions, we do the talking with people, are far more pleasant with the average black American than with the average, American white bitch. Now, here's the thing. I don't think there is a single group of people in the history of this country who have been more overly represented in media and the entertainment industry while simultaneously having no accurate representation than black people. What do I mean by that? You think this speaker, you think this press secretary is representative of the average black American? You think Al Sharpton is? You think what you're seeing on HBO is? It's not even close. Go and talk with them. Go and talk with them. But they make up a huge percent. Black Americans make up a huge percent of what we see in media, but it is not emblematic of black American voices. Primarily, they grow up in Christian households. Primarily, they tend to be family-centric. Primarily, they tend to be socially conservative. And yes, there are issues that the black community obviously struggles with that they need to deal with themselves. I can't offer solutions because I'm a white guy. But we're not offering mass shootings of black people. That's just a statistical inaccuracy.
Yeah.
And that's the problem with sowing division based on a lie and telling people to shut up about the truth. Truth is, white people are being off in record numbers by black people in this country when you look at the crime between races. Same thing applies with Asians and crimes being committed against them by black people. These people committing these crimes are not people who are afraid of white supremacy or Asian supremacy. That's a statistical reality. And so, yes, you have a lot of white people who are afraid. And so they're less likely to reach across the aisle and speak with people in these communities. But we need to acknowledge the statistical reality if we're going to address the problem. We need to stop silencing people from speaking of the truth. And we need to stop lying to one group of people to try and sow chaos. Let's go to another claim that they will make here. I think we're up to claim number 5, and they say now that censoring social media is what's necessary because that's what causes mass shootings.
Meanwhile, new scrutiny and criticism of social media tonight as powerful fallout begins in the wake of that gun massacre. It wasn't just the live streaming of the murders that the accused killer posted while the carnage happened. It's also the wide-open social media sites rife with racism and hatred pushed by white supremacists. How to deal with all this? It seems simple, but it is complicated.
As a First Amendment scholar, I have to reinforce it. We don't have First Amendment guarantees to social media. Hate that amounts to violence and harming people and taking the lives of people, that's not a question of speech. That's a conduct that we deem to be illegal.
Look, this is what they do. They start with a little kernel of truth. They start with a little kernel of something that's true, where they say, well, yeah, look, of course, no one's saying that people have the right to Twitch stream shootings, dummy. But then someone like this, and then the governor of New York, not fringe people, say, this is why we need to clamp down on social media. Well, okay, here's the truth. That's a really stupid thing to say. You and Tipper Gore, right? Remember with Columbine, with the Columbine shooting, they blamed the Matrix, they blamed natural born killers, they blamed the video game Doom, and now they're blaming social media. And I understand what they're saying. They're trying to say people now are using social media to get famous. Oh, okay, so social media. Hey, hold on a second. Do you bear any responsibility, media? Hey, you know what? Let me point you to an example. Let's bring up CNN right now. If someone is committing a mass shooting because they want to become famous, you haven't done anything to encourage that, have you, CNN? Timothy McVeigh, Columbine shooters, right? ABC, NBC, CBS, you guys have never given airtime to mass shooters.
Brought up in 99% of all movies that involve mass shootings because we all know it's the media that pushes their name out there.
Exactly.
And gives them the glory that they want.
So now they want to blame, whether it's Twitch or whether it's Twitter or whether it's YouTube, Facebook, who, by the way, remove these as soon as they go up. They're removed everywhere on social media, but not from traditional media, not from legacy media. These dinosaurs that are dying, they're the ones giving it airtime. They're the ones making these people famous, and they want to say that the responsibility lies with you for tweeting out CDC statistics or skepticism of the Pfizer vaccine. So now we need the Ministry of Truth to clamp down. That's the problem. The problem is people have guns in New York. People are racist, white supremacy, and people. This is social media problem.
It's hate speech again, right? It's something that's very, very, very hateful.
Yeah. When the truth is, people don't have enough guns,
right?
And the truth is that media has encouraged this. Media is what has made people famous, and the truth is the statistical discrepancy between white and black crimes is something that has not been addressed, and so it's festering beneath the surface because people know the truth and you're lying to them. That's the truth.
Watch Louder with Crowder live, Monday through Thursday, 10 a.m. Eastern.
Why aren't there flying cars? You just jumping right in. You don't say hi. You don't say how's the wife and kids. How's
everybody, man? How's life? How's your book that's been on the Times bestseller list for how many weeks?
Oh, the Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. That's been on the New York Times bestseller list for 67 weeks.
That's pretty intense.
It's that's a lot for any book, much less for a science book. And so that tells me, while all these Trump books are wafting in and out, this is bobbing like a cork on the ocean waves, as the book of the moment that either praises Trump or criticizes him come in and off of that list. So this tells me that there is this unserved hunger that people have. There's a curiosity that this is serving. And it's to astrophysics for people in a hurry. That's kind of that's very purposefully juxtaposed. It's like neurosurgery in 4 easy steps. You know, if you saw a book with that title, you'd have to pick it up because you'd wonder what's going on.
Well, not to kiss your ass again, but I always say this about you, and I think it's important. You make learning stuff about astrophysics fun, and that's what's missing. You know, it's not that people don't like to be educated, that they don't like to learn. They just don't want to be bored.
That's a perceptive point because, you know, think of the image we have of, let's say you're in a school where most people don't go to college. You're in high school. And then last day of school comes. What do people do? They toss their papers in the air as they run down the steps. School's out. No. What's the rock song? School's out for summer. Was it forever? No, ever. Yeah. Then forever. Ever. Right? Yeah. So that attitude must mean the school didn't train you to embrace curiosity.
Right.
That learning was a chore, and now the chores are over.
Yeah.
So I think the educational system needs an adjustment. Forget whether or not you go to college, because you're going to spend more years not in school than in school, even if you do go to college. What you want, I think, are lifelong learners, lifelong curiosity.
Yes.
Where once you are trained and your curiosity is stimulated, the curiosity we all had as children. Your children don't need to be taught to be curious. They are curious to the point of destruction of whatever it is they touch. Oh, what is this egg on the counter? What is this glass? What is this plate? What's under a rock? What happens if I pull a leg off a daddy long? You know, they are experimenting with the world. We don't think of it that way, but that's what it is. They're all born scientists. And I say this often. You spend the first years of a child's life teaching it to walk and talk. Then you spend the rest of its life telling it to shut up and sit down. You know, this is the wrong combination. So speaking as an educator, I think a missing component of school is it the teachers? Is it the curriculum? I don't know. But when you get out of school, you should say to yourself, damn, I want to learn more.
It's almost universally accepted, too, that that's when your learning ends. When you get out of college, it's over.
Then you say you're done. Yeah. And if it does, then you're ossified in life. Yeah. And that's how, when the job market shifts, you're not ready for it because you don't know how to think. You don't know how to learn.
Right.
You know, and it's the difference in the workplace between the person who gets an assignment and say, Joey, Janet, I need you to do this. A job description. I'm not trained for this. That's one kind of person in a workplace. Another kind of person is, here's a new task I need you to do. Wow, I've never seen that before. Let me figure it out.
Right.
These are two completely different species of human being. And what the world needs more of is like the second case, where you take a new task and you say, wow, I get to learn. I'm going to learn on my own. I'll ask people who know more. You just embrace the act of learning to satisfy your curiosity. And I think this book is capturing that in the public.
Well, it must be doing something.
Yeah.
60 how many weeks?
67 weeks.
God dang.
Yeah.
That's a lot of weeks.
Yeah, every morning I wake up, I'm calm, but I'm really not calm. I'm saying, holy shit. Sorry, you're live. I can't. Can I say that?
You can say holy shit.
I can say it? Okay.
Neil deGrasse Tyson swears, ladies and gentlemen, he's human. People think you're a robot. Now they know. It's a great sign, I think. And I think your podcast is a great sign as well. The success of your podcast and the success of a lot of science podcasts.
That's an excellent note that you noticed that. There's a rise of science-curious podcasts out there.
Stuff to Blow Your Mind is one that I really enjoy.
Right.
I really love Radiolab. They've always got really interesting science.
The perennial favorite.
Fantastic.
So many people.
Probably the best.
Right.
Yeah, and yours as well. And I love Chuck Nice. Shout out to Chuck Nice.
Oh, Chuck. We all love Chuck.
He's great. But what you're doing is you're making learning interesting, and that's why it's so fun. There's excitement to it. You bring a comedian like Chuck on with you, things get silly, but they're also curious, and you're getting these experts, and everyone's talking about these various subjects. And
as you know, not only yourself as an exemplar of this, stand-up comedians are some of the smartest people in the world. They have an awareness.
I don't go that far.
Okay.
Listen, come to the Comedy Store with me today. I'll change your mind.
All right, let me buffer that a little.
They're curious.
Okay, no. So stand-up comedians are perceptive people.
Yes,
and
for sure.
And they're aware, and they notice things that you don't notice. They see the same things you do and get to shape it in a way you never thought possible, and then you end up laughing. at other things, at yourself.
Was it your idea to do your show with stand-ups?
So what we have there are several of us who created this concept, and we there's Helen Matzos is one of the partners, and there's another one who's now left, but what's his name? I'll get his name in a minute. But there were three of us who David Gamble is his name. The three of us got together and applied for a National Science Foundation grant. What we said was, there are programs out there that serve people who already know they like science. Who serves the people who don't know they like science? Or better yet, the people who know they don't like science? There's nothing for them because they've already rejected it. They're not going to tune in to Science Friday because they don't like science on NPR, right? So what we thought was, suppose we bring in a celebrity. That's the pop culture draw. This is the pop culture scaffold. We bring in the scaffold and clad the scaffold with science. Because whatever the celebrity does, it doesn't matter. There's going to be science in that person's life. We had the guy who portrayed Gollum in Lord of the Rings.
A lot of science in that. But there is, like, like that suit that he had to wear.
Exactly. So what we did was we interviewed him and we talked about the technology necessary to portray Gollum as a live. He portrayed that live. That was not some later animation. He is live, and he's got his whole body wired up for this, and he is that voice, and he is portraying it. So whatever it is that you have done, that you do, there is some, because it's evidence that science is everywhere. You're not going. You can't say, oh, I'm done with science. Let me sell my textbook and move on to other things. Because practically anything else you do has been touched by science. And so Star Talk is a celebration of that. And then it jumps species. And so now we're on TV now. All right? There's a TV show on National Geographic Channel, Star Talk. And since you started this, by the way, I didn't come here to talk about it. You started this. It's our fourth year in a row where we're nominated for an Emmy for Outstanding Informational Programming.
Are you going to keep doing Cosmos too, though?
So Cosmos. So I have 1 week remaining out of like 70 shoot days to finish shooting Cosmos, Possible Worlds, airing spring 2019. That's the third installment of Cosmos, if you trace the first one to Carl Sagan back in 1980.
I used your segment on wolves, on how wolves became dogs.
Oh.
I showed it to my kids.
And that's
and
right.
You can see the little wheels spinning like, whoa.
Yeah,
like, that's how a dog became a dog?
And what you didn't see is I'm sitting at the campfire in this snowy environment, and they got wolves walking around me. They're on these fishing wires. Because they are not dogs.
Right.
Okay? They do
whatever the fuck they want.
Correct.
Yeah.
And when they're looking at you, it's like, should I rip his neck out now or later when I'm more hungry?
Right.
They're not. There's no eye contact with them because they don't see you as anything other than something they could possibly eat. And so you can't interact with them the way you would with ordinary dogs. So they're on these fishing, high tension fishing wire that you can't see against the snow, and they're like hooting and hollering around me as I described. And the name of that show is "And the Wolf Shall Become the Shepherd." Yeah.
My friend did a commercial with a wolf, and there's this commercial where he's running up this mountain, and the wolf is there. And at the end of the commercial, they had to get the wolf to snarl. So what the trainer does is he shows the wolf some meat, and then he pulls the meat away from the wolf. Wolf snarls, and they're like, and then the commercial's over. He's like, no, there's no working after that. Like, there's no, you're not going to be near the wolf. Like, that switch is turned on.
Done.
Yeah, and it's crazy. He's like, once that thing snarled, everybody just backed off, and the trainer let everybody know, like, once I get to this point, we're done. Like, there's no more. And that thing's, we're like, okay, everybody, we're done. Let's get the fuck out of here.
All three of these Cosmoses, the original one with Carl Sagan, the one that the privilege of hosting in 2014 and 2019, are co-written by, and she's the widow of Carl Sagan.
Oh wow!
But she kind of in his shadow back then, but she's hugely creative and highly enlightened. And so most of the sort of the soul energy, if you will, what makes Cosmos distinct from other documentaries where you're sort of sitting there learning, you put your thinking cap on, your learning cap on. In Cosmos, it's your feeling cap. you're not only learning, you're also feeling the science and its relationship to you, to civilization, to the world, to the universe. And her infusion of this, she's a highly scientifically literate writer, producer. And so I just give a shout out to her. Just working with her has been a delight.
Is Cosmos on Apple TV or
So Cosmos
Amazon or anything?
So Cosmos was after it premiered on Fox and then went internationally on Nat Geo. It then went to Netflix. So, but I think this run of Netflix is going to drop until the next one comes in. I think they want to clear the landing zone for the next Cosmos. But it went to Netflix.
But is it available for anyone to get right now?
Oh, right now? It should be. I haven't checked. That's a great question.
Because I have it all on my DVR and I'm scared to delete it.
Oh,
I only have like 6%
left.
Hard drive space left.
That's what everyone's DVR looks like.
I got all your Cosmoses in there.
Yeah, so thanks for having them all in there.
What was that Morgan Freeman show?
Through the wormhole.
Yeah, I got that on there too.
Yeah,
that was a great show.
That's a Joe Rogan thing.
Yeah.
If you didn't have that, I'd be disappointed. I say you're an imposter. You're fake.
It's an opportunity to be entertained and learned, which I think is what everybody misses.
Right.
And I think that's what's missing in most public education. It's people are bored, and you take these kids with so much energy, and then you make them sit still and watch something that's not even remotely stimulating by a person who doesn't really care to be there.
Right. And they know this. They know this intuitively, if not explicitly, that the enthusiasm is absent.
Yeah, they can feel it. Yeah. And just worst way to learn. It's the worst way, and it's so hard to escape. Once you get out of that system, it takes forever for a lot of these people to just get their excitement about education back.
You know what I say when I address teachers? We all. By the way, I'll do this right now in this room. We have only 3 of us, but let's take a show of hands. In your life, with all the teachers you've ever had in every class you've ever taken, how many had like a singular influence on who and what you became? Give me a number. It's going to be, I'm betting, it's 5 or fewer. Probably more like 3.
Yeah, for teachers.
What's your number?
Well, there's the one that I talked about on your show the last time I saw you.
Thanks for coming on to Start Talk.
My pleasure. Who was a science teacher that I had when I believe I was in 7th grade, who told me that if you really want to hurt your brain, look up and recognize the fact that that goes on forever, that this is infinite, and then just think about what that means, infinite, that there really is no end to it.
So, but how many teachers such as that were so influential on you?
That one guy saying that one thing in that one class, he might be the one.
And
or 2 at
2.
most, maybe.
For me, it's like 2.5. And I've had scores of teachers.
Yeah.
Okay? 100 teachers, at least. So what I tell teachers is, be that teacher to your students. We've all had those teachers. Be that teacher. And in every case, it wasn't because the topic was something you knew in advance you would like. It's because their energy for sharing their passion and love for the subject was palpable.
Yeah.
And it just spilled out of them and went into course through your veins and your arteries, and you walk out of there thinking, wow, that was the most interesting thing I've ever done in my life. You don't even care what you get on a test after that, because you got touched and you became an enlightened participant in that exercise, in that exploration.
Yeah, it's just so hard for them to even get kids' attentions, though.
Yeah,
there's just so many wrestling matches going on.
Unfortunately, that could be, in some places, half the energy of the teacher is maintaining order.
I think the success of your book, the success of your show, your podcast, and many of these other really intelligent podcasts are showing that there's an appetite for this stuff out there.
Yeah, and I'm delighted to be a servant of that curiosity. And I brought this just because it's not even out yet. You're airing like now live? You're live?
You're live.
You are live. Okay, so
there's like a 5-second delay or something.
Is that to bleep all my expletives?
No. What is this? Accessory to War?
Oh, this is like another book. This is coming out in 3 weeks.
Is this about space war?
Accessory to War, the unspoken alliance between astrophysics and the military. Yeah, so this other book was Astrophysics for People in a Hurry. Do not buy this book. This is not for people in a hurry. This is not This is not an impulse item at the checkout line. This is this is all about. By the way, we know role the physicist plays in war. The physicist makes the bomb, invents the bomb. The chemist makes napalm. The biologist weaponizes anthrax. And the astrophysicist, well, we sit at the end of a telescope and wait for photons to cross the universe and enter our detector, and we go into conferences and argue about them. So there is no obvious connection between what we do and Perry's strength, hegemony, dominance, empire building. It's just not obvious. That's why the subtitle, The Unspoken Alliance. It's not a secret. It's not there. It's there, but it's not. Nobody's talking about it. Do you realize? I'll just give an example. Okay, if you needed more reasons to think that Columbus was a dick, okay, let me add one to it. Okay?
There's a difference between when we were kids and today.
Yeah, I know. But actually, I do have something mildly redeeming to offer about Columbus, if you have the time.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to.
Okay. Start off with that.
You want me to start with that?
How you want to do it?
No, I'll do the dick part.
Let's do the dick part.
Okay, so on his third voyage, by the time of his third voyage, he had already planted enough Spanish flags that Spain had already begun to set up governments and infrastructures in these places that he had found. Yeah, basically conquered. And so in one of the places, it's in the book accurately, but I think it's Hispaniola, one of the island today. He has to get back, it's his third voyage, 1503 or 1504. He's got to get back to Spain. He doesn't have enough resources, not enough food for his crew. So he asks the natives, would you please give us some of your stock that you have collected from your farming? Now, this particular group of natives only makes exactly the amount of food they need to tie to the next crop. They don't have surplus. So they said, no, we don't have surplus, sorry. Columbus knew that 1 week hence, coincidentally, there was going to be a total lunar eclipse where the moon in its orbit around Earth enters Earth's shadow. The full moon enters Earth's shadow and disappears. And the geometry of that event, it's just a simple lunar eclipse, but the geometry is such that sunlight passes around Earth through Earth's atmosphere and takes on sunset colors that leach into Earth's shadow, giving the moon, if you can see it at all, a deep red amber hue. It's the color of blood. Columbus said, and he knew about this because he had read the tables, the eclipse tables, all right? We'd known enough about the solar system at the time we got that, okay? Actually, back then it was just the known world with Earth in the middle of the known universe. That didn't matter. The rhythms of the universe were known. He says to the natives, if you do not give us food, my God, which is more powerful than your God, will make the moon disappear and it will turn red. That will happen in 1 week. You have 1 week to comply. Some of them were skeptical. What? You can't, what? Well, others said, you gotta do what this guy said. Look at the ships they came in. Their guns, their power, their culture. Look what they've got.
I just checked the time too. It's like, shit,
Fair
we gotta
enough.
Leave in a minute.
Right on cue.
Yeah, somebody will bring
the moon begins to disappear.
You're at an hour.
According to that is a famous woodcut. If you have this, those viewing the video of this, that is a famous woodcut, and notice the natives bowing to him, and he stands proudly because he knows the science. He knows the astronomy. He knew this, and so he invokes this to dominate people who are not yet scientifically literate. And within seconds of this beginning, they bring him all the resources he wants, and he gets. And we don't know what happened, back at the island, whether the people survived the winter, but he got back to the island. That is one microcosm of ways that the universe has been invoked in this. I'll give you another example. Los Alamos, one of the national labs. They today, as basically since their inception, are charged with tracking the nuclear arsenal of the United States. Our nuclear power, the nukes that would go into nuclear weapons. They think about this. Do you realize they hire astrophysicists? I have colleagues working there. You know why? Because there's a room. There are 2 rooms. I mean, I'm simplifying this, but basically there are two rooms adjacent to one another and a computer between the